Have you ever wondered what goes into designing a selection process for pilots? Pilot selection has transformed in the years that flying has existed, from harsh military processes to operators who generally accepted a pilot based on license possession alone. A good pilot selection process is not only intended to assure safe operators, but to also select experienced pilots who are expected to apply logic and common sense in their daily work. And through OSM Aviation's flight crew recruitment team, over 10,000 pilots have been assessed worldwide. The recruitment staff have diverse and wide-ranging experience in aviation, in addition to multiple degrees and accreditations in human resourcing, psychology, and psychometrics, which is all touched upon in order to select the very best pilots. So, what goes into a pilot selection process? Well, a process may include, but is not limited to, just some of the following elements. Screening and shortlisting. Applicants are normally screened based on knowledge of aviation, airlines, aircraft, regulations, language requirements, company requirements, and global rules and regulations. Through use of these points, the recruiter can screen candidates through a hierarchy and create a shortlist of applicants. Simulator testing. A flight simulator test is often used to check a candidate's level of experience and adaptability. Many skills are checked during a sim test, such as handling, error mitigation, and CRM. Personality testing. A personality test may be administered during a screening process that would create a profile of the applicant, which could then be used to choose certain question sets to focus on in the behavioral interview. There are a number of more elements that go into making a pilot screening process. Want to know more? Sign up and become a member of CrewAssist today to learn more about pilot selection, recruiting, and even interview processes from our team of highly qualified recruiters.
Let's start with some LinkedIn key numbers. We have 675 million monthly users on LinkedIn. Also, we have 30 million companies and 20 million open jobs. So you can understand why it is important why so many people actually use that, and why it is important to be there. So why LinkedIn? Of course, in the first place, it is a job platform. So you actually want to get hired. But also, you want to build your personal brand. You are not looking for the job the whole time, but it's also important to stay relevant, to stay active, and to show what you're doing right now. Don't forget that 9 out of 10 company recruiters use LinkedIn, and you want to be there. So let's start with some must-have profile sections. We have 6 of them. This is your photo, headline, summary, experience, education, and skills. So photo. Well, as you can imagine, that's the first thing you see on your profile. That's your first impression. Just saying with some numbers, profiles with photos get 21 times more views on average. And I'm going to give you some guidelines. It's not, it's just a recommendation. Don't forget about that. You can be creative, you can be different, but it's better to stick to some of them at least. So the photo has to be where you stand alone, and it shouldn't be a selfie. It doesn't have to be a professional photo, but it's nice when you actually have like a nice picture. It has to be from shoulders up and smiling. So you can imagine when you go on somebody's profile and you see that it's a person, like the whole body, and you can't actually tell who the person is. So like the profile picture is quite small, so don't forget that people have to recognize you, right? And smiling is always a good idea, just saying. And don't forget that the LinkedIn is a professional network, so your picture also should be professional. It can be from an event, or it can be from inside the cockpit, for example, whatever you prefer, because it is actually nicer when you show that, okay, so I'm a pilot, and people can see it straight away. And you have another picture over there. It's a background photo. Add an eye-catching one. Sometimes you can use your company's background photo, the one they have on their LinkedIn page, or you can use yours. It's okay. Just try to express yourself a bit more, and it's totally fine, and it gives you more profile, more likes, more interest and everything. So the second thing that we have on the LinkedIn profile is actually a headline. So it's a short one-liner that shows up under your name. It's 120 characters, so, and after your photo, of course, is the first thing you see. By the default, it is your position right now at the company you are working for. And, well, it's totally fine. Lots of people use that, but you actually want to stand out. you want to say something about yourself, you want to say something about your profession, or you can say something catchy, something like, the sky is not the limit, the sky is home, because, well, you know why. And this is very interesting. This is something that keeps them interested, right? That keeps them, okay, I want to look at this profile. I want to work with this person, kind of. So if we go further, the next thing is summary. It's your elevator pitch. If you know what it is, it's your time to tell your story. Don't go into like so many details. Just tell them who you are, what you're interested in, focus on your accomplishments, on your aspirations. Tell them who you are. This is your portfolio, your career portfolio. Just you can be if you take a CV, for example, you have to be short there. You have to be short and sharp. And here you can actually tell your story. So use this section and leave the list of qualifications to other sections. Just show why your skills matter, why you're a person that everybody wants to work with, who you are, basically. So then we have experience in education. Show what you have achieved, right? So again, giving some numbers, that profiles with 2 or more positions, in experience, are up to 36 times more likely to be found by recruiters. And members who list a school get 10 times more views on average. So elaborate on the most crucial and relevant parts of your experience. It can be as a CV, it can be bullet points, it can be something more like, I did that, and this project was really interesting just because I did that in specific. So if you think there is something that you actually want to elaborate more, and you have the space there, just use it. Just show them why there was an interesting project, why it was something that is relevant for your industry. So don't be afraid to use this section. Don't be afraid to elaborate. Okay. So the next section is skills. It's actually one section that can raise your ranking in recruiter searches. You should remember that LinkedIn is a platform, and LinkedIn always uses keywords. They have algorithms, and it's also a section where you can showcase your ability. If you list 5 and more skills, you'll get up to 70 times more profile views. You use industry keywords. This is really important. You know better what is important in your industry. Just use these keywords, but of course you should have them. You should have the skills, right? So there is no point of lying, because at some point you're going to be talking, you're going to have an interview, and if you don't have a skill, so what's the point of that? Ask your connections to endorse your skills. So that's an interesting thing. So for example, you can ask your colleagues, your boss, or whatever, whoever you want, to go on your profile and say, okay, this guy actually has this skill, he is really good at it. I can just click endorse. And I mean, if you're friends, you can also go to their profile and endorse their skills. You know, this is how it works. We're still connecting with other people. We still want them to be better as well. We want to be better ourselves, right? And stay relevant. So make sure your skills represent what you are doing right now, that you've done, and just try to keep your profile up to date. So that's maybe the most important profile sections that we have, but it's not just about having your online CV with some stories and portfolios and whatever. It's still a network, right? It's a platform, it's a social media platform. So again, the first thing that you remember, keep your profile up to date. All your experiences, education, skills, projects, groups, whatever you do, just put in there, because you're an interesting person. You have a lot of things you are doing, so just show it, because it is really hard to distinguish a really interesting person when everybody is the same, and you want to show them, okay, I'm different, I did this and this and that, and sometimes it doesn't have to do anything with the industry, but it's just interesting. So other than that, don't forget to connect with people you know. And also don't forget to personalize your invitation. This is really important. Just because you have met this person once, you can still connect to him because, well, you know him. But the point is that he might not remember you, but then you say, oh, okay, we've met at this event, and it was really interesting, it was really nice to talk to you, so maybe we should connect. And this is great. It's okay that people actually don't remember who you are, because, I mean, we all live in, we all have big networks, and it's okay. So as soon as you build your network, use it. For example, if you want to work for a specific company and you go on to their LinkedIn page and you see, okay, so there are some people who actually started at the same school as I did, and that's awesome. You have something in common. try to connect to these people. When you connect, you have about 300 characters to write like an invitation, right? But you can also say, okay, ask them for advice. Maybe what do you think I should do when I apply to this job? Or maybe what are their, their most important skills that are required for this position. It is really important to ask for advice and not to ask for a job, just because it's usually working a bit weird, because when you ask for advice, you actually get a job, and the other way around. So you probably want to ask for an advice. Also, another important thing, you might want to get a referral. 85% of jobs get filled through employee referrals. So basically, you ask your colleagues or like ex-colleagues who are working for another company, and they can ask their bosses or their colleagues whether they need another person. So if there is a position, it is nicer because, of course, you know these people, you trust them a bit more. It is nice to get a referral, and LinkedIn is actually a great network for that. Just don't be afraid to get out there. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to be active, actually. Also, there's another small section that I haven't mentioned before, which is a recommendation section. Basically, you can request a recommendation from your boss, from your colleagues, even from your friends, but probably it's going to be a bit weird. So when you go there, you ask them for a recommendation, and they can write, okay, so this guy is actually really good at this and this and that, and he made a big impact while we were working on this project. And this is really important. Just imagine what you write on your CV is one thing, and the other thing when somebody else actually tells that about you and your skills. So it gives it a bit more credibility. So it is an important section to use. Not everybody does that, but it's actually a really good way to stand out. Also, apart from all of the sections that I've talked about, it is important to be active. It is important to engage. Take part in industry discussions. Engage with others. It's nice when you like, because it's easy to like, but it's not that easy to comment, or like to comment something relevant. So don't forget to go to like different groups, for example, aviation professionals or other ones. It just, you can search, it's like so many groups, it's the internet, there's so many interesting industry discussion. Don't forget that you are not only showing your profile, but you actually learn something from that. There are smart people, there are the smart people you want to be connected with, to have something in common. You can learn from them, and this is great. So be active, join groups, comment, take part in the discussions. And don't forget another really important part. Share your experiences and thoughts. So basically, you create your own, well, maybe article, maybe you just want to post a picture, maybe you want to post a video, or maybe you have some thoughts on what's happening in the industry right now. So just take it and post this on your social media profile, on your LinkedIn profile. And then, especially since you're in the aviation industry, that's already incredible. That's really extremely interesting, and people are actually interested in that. So you don't have to imagine anything. All you have to do is actually give your thoughts, and maybe your colleagues or maybe your friends, so it doesn't matter who, they're going to engage in the discussion. That's how you get noticed by other people. You're showcasing that you actually know what you're talking about. You're not afraid to stand out. You're not afraid to show them who you are and that you're actually good at it. So to wrap it up, basically, all I want to say is that it's important to have a LinkedIn profile. It's important to have it up to date and to make all the sections that I've talked about, well, quite perfect, to be honest. Be active, be on LinkedIn, and I wish you all the best with your job search.
Airlines, new kids on the block. Thanks to a grant by the UK government, COVID-19 Future Fund, a new startup airline is set to launch in 2021. Flypop will operate scheduled flights from the UK to India. Not too far away in a neighboring kingdom, Air 7, based in Copenhagen Roskilde, is set to launch by late 2020 or early 2021. The airline will start operations with 2 Boeing 737 aircraft, primarily with a domestic and a regional schedule. Airports, time to revamp and upgrade in hopes for a 5-star rating. Taking advantage of the slower air traffic, Dublin Airport is planning a major facelift for Terminal 1. The updates will dramatically increase natural light in the building and create more sustainable energy consumption. Munich Airport is the only European airport to achieve and retain its 5-star ranking as awarded by Skytrax. The other 5-star airport hubs around the world include Doha Hamad International Airport, Hong Kong International Airport, Shanghai, Singapore Changi, and Tokyo Haneda. Aerospace, best of both worlds, speed and range. Gulfstream Aerospace Corporation has just announced that their next generation G500 and G600 will once again demonstrate additional range capability, exceeding expectations thanks to a higher Mach number at cruise speed. Additional range will be achieved for both aircraft models. Fun fact of the week. Ever thought about the busiest flight route of all times? Well, in pre-COVID times, the South Korean Seoul-Jeju flight was the busiest on the planet by carrying 14 million passengers every year on a 449-kilometer journey. With 250 scheduled flights a day, you can board a flight in every 15 minutes. A saying in aviation, until you spread your wings, you have no idea how far you'll fly. Stay relevant, stay sharp, be ready. CrewAssist by OSM Aviation.